through the team's passion and the love for what they are doing, we are able to build, excuse me, we are able to actually build an incredible team. But that doesn't mean you can bring in the money. That doesn't mean that you can make a successful company. And I think in the Q&A you're going to ask me, is it all about the money? And I think I'm going to say no. I think it's all about the success. But without the money, you can't have the success, because this is business. You need to fund it. I think many of you are going to agree with that. So the moment we realize that this whole technology of doing 3D and the whole technology of trying to take Pixar quality scenes and flying through them and pulling a slide.com kind of stuff and pulling some amazing imagery with your content, we didn't know how to monetize that. Someone else could have done that. People have done that with silly slideshows. Take a bunch of your pictures, put them into a website, just show you some amazing stuff. Imagine having your content as a part of a Pixar quality scene. Imagine that. If you had that technology and the ability to render that for millions of people, how cool would that be? I think that's what PixSplits did. And I think we need to understand why that failed. But I think we'll get into that separately. But we were not able to monetize that technology, and we moved further. And we said, okay, we're going to do something else. So here it is. We're going live with Fox Sports with the same code, with the same kind of bits, with the same code. And hey, there's Amit again, there's Gagan, there's other people out there. And I'll tell you what this whole technology was turned around into. Remember I showed you that little video, that picture with Joe sailing and the Candlestick Park in the background in San Francisco? So we went live with a technology with a completely different purpose, and that's what it looks like. The whole idea was instead of starting with a 3D scene and putting your content into it, we said, how about we start with live video, which is coming from Major League Baseball, NFL, NHL, MLB. Take these, these billboards you see out here. How about taking them and replacing them dynamically, instead of putting your photographs of your family, and the friends and your pets and stuff like that? How about putting advertising out there to do location independent, geographical advertising out there, because Major League Baseball is loved in China, it's loved in Japan too. And how do we monetize that? So we changed the inputs. We used the same technology. We turned things around. We added more things. I had to let go part of the team. It's ugly. And then hired more new people. We joined forces with the Stanford robotics team. If there is a person out there, if you know this space, probably the top 3 people in industry, in the world, in academia, in this space, were in this company. And we failed. And I think that's the lesson. And I really do want to share that with you. And I'm hoping that you can beat me up later and understand what was it that really went wrong. There's huge money in this advertising, right? Advertising is a huge business out there. So here we are looking at people, the camera people. We're looking at these are cameras out here. That's why I'm actually out in the field here, hosted by Fox Sports. A lot of people from my last company, PixSplits, who are actually a part of my current company out here. So that's what it takes. When you know that when you move forward and the people move with you, you know that something there has happened. Something is magical. There's a bond out there. That's, let's not say any more than that here. You see the ads out there? The whole idea was to be able to dynamically replace. You're doing pan, tilt, zooms with cameras, and you're focusing on all those things. The ability to take data feeds at 100 megabytes a second and dynamically replace them for international advertising, for advertising around the country. The same game to change the ads. Huge business out there. We thought. That's what it looks like in the master control room out there. There's people out there. The hardware, I showed you glimpses of that. They were using our hardware. We actually went live. We went live in the Giants and in the Dodger stadiums with the Major League Baseball game. We demonstrated that this technology works. It can be broadcasted. We came back with a letter of intent from Fox Sports, from Major League Baseball for $6 million. The economy plummeted 2009. Nobody even knows the downturn. No VC wants to stand behind you. There's no money there. There were some who did. There were people who talk all about that. This is not a plug for any particular VC or anything. It all happened. So I think it's all about teams, about people who believe in you. Let's move forward here. Finally, we had brochures that look like this. We had a real product. We had proven it out in the field with proofs of concept that worked, that were broadcasted. Okay, so what did that damn thing look like? Hey, thing gonna come up or what? You're right, I'm okay, come up. Okay, see, this is the technology here. Watch it, we'll slow it down. Sorry, no audio here. All right, so let's play this again. So what's happening here? So take a look. That's a typical scene from a Major League Baseball stadium. You're sitting out in the truck at a stadium with hardware developed by people such as Kareem, Amit, Pujan, many others that I showed you pictures of. I told you this was about our story, the story of our team. Look at that picture out there, the X's out there. That's robotics. That's the ability to dynamically, understand and recognize billboards within the stadium where you're going to replace ads out there. So we got the X's out there. See, we highlighted those areas. Guess what we did out there? Let's go back a little bit. You see? You see the beer ad there, Sapporo? That's not at the same level of resolution as the original ad. See, that's a lot more diffused. The camera focuses on the guy's face. This is out there. So once you detect the imagery, you have to make sure that how much is this out of focus. You're doing all kinds of, this is the kind of stuff that you need PhDs, you need hardcore people to know that, okay, I've actually done the detection, but I need to understand what my depth of field is. I need to really understand what it means to pan, tilt, zoom the camera. I really need to understand what it needs to do occlusion, who's blocking whom, how to replace the imagery, what it means to do the super sampling and the non-linear resolution across the guy's face and his hat and the background, what it means to do the shadows and the lighting. You need not one algorithm, you need eight algorithms, you need 16 algorithms to run in parallel. You need to run combinatorial logic to get the best of, right? It's all crazy ass shit. This is the kind of stuff that you do. You can prove it, you can go live, and you can actually do this. You diffuse the damn thing exactly so that it matches the stuff on the left. Right? You can do the occlusion. The guy moved behind those billboards where we rendered. You can make it very damn real. By the way, the Comcast, the Major League Baseballs and others are paying money for this stuff. Right? Remember, we got a $6 million letter of intent I actually got a term sheet for this. I'll do a little plug for Mirrors Capital. These guys are new kids on the block, great VC firm to go to. Obviously, they're more mature than they used to be years ago when I worked with them. But you're going to ask me, are venture capitalists, are they, what's their role? Is that the necessary evil and stuff like that? I think I view the world very differently. I met a lot of investors. I've had corporate governance and Wilson Sonsini. In fact, by the way, I've done 2 startups back to back. It's like I said, I've learned well on this failure, so that we can ride through the successes really quick. Pretty much put the same team through. I owed a lot of bills to Wilson. I owed a lot of bills to a lot of other people, knew a lot of venture capitalists. Pretty much the same teams came through. So you may have almost died, you're on the bridge of a sinking ship. The ecosystem around you matters. When you tried hard, when you worked hard, people recognize that. And I think that's what you want behind a company. And I think that's what I recommend, or my thoughts on this, at least it works for me, is just believe in yourself. Don't care about the rest, and it'll all happen. It'll all fall in place. Hey guys, any questions? You guys are so quiet. This is not exciting, or what? It's dark imagery. Go ahead. Say something.
You said you had the term sheet for this concept. You got a letter of intent. So, what was the step that derailed you from going forward?
Great question. Great question. I really want to address that in the Q&A. We had a letter of intent, like a MOU, memorandum of understanding. Remember, 2009, the whole economy plummeted. We won't do a full Q&A then, but we'll just quickly. Yeah, no, thanks. I appreciate you turning on the lights here, waking me up too. It's the ability to scale your 6 million. 6 million is a great number for a startup coming up. Not bad. But can you scale your 6 million into 100 million to get your Sequoia and then your KPs and others lined up? We couldn't prove that. And by the way, we had a term sheet for a decent amount, and I turned that down. We took a bridge, we didn't complete it because it didn't see a path forward. And the challenges with that are on the business model, which is where what you saw in that entire team introduction was just a bunch of technologists, highly passionate, people who loved technology, people who loved each other, people who loved what they were doing and knew this was the labor of love, for the love of God who can make that thing happen. The business of technology is very different than technology itself. I think that's my short answer to what you're saying out there. I didn't see a path to turn the 6 million into 100 million, into $1 billion market, and I couldn't demonstrate that to them. And I knew I didn't have that, which is why I've had to fold the company. I had to deal with people's H-1Bs, visas. I had to drain my own personal bank account. You know what? I can take somebody's term sheet and close the thing down and lose maybe 2 years later or 1 year later. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't do anyone any good. But in good faith, it was very hard turning that money down and saying I'm closing the company down. And when people need paychecks, when people need H-1Bs, visas, when people can get deported back to their original countries where they come from, that's very hard. We had to do that, and many of those people, some of those people are here, right here, and some others will be listening to this later on YouTube. Hopefully this briefly answers your question. Let me just move forward. Let's focus on the rest of that in the Q&A. Is that okay for now? Thank you for asking. Thank you. So I'm not going to dwell too much on this video. There's a lot of detail involved in this. Hey, while I'm at this, any other questions? Pop this up. Great brochures, great technology. Hey, good. So we died, right? The first company sunk. Took a bunch of stuff from there, hardware, servers, whatever, rewired the damn thing, put it together, no, I don't mind. I mean, you okay? Is this going in the other direction?
No, that's great. Now I'm just laughing at taking servers. We have done too.
Cheap old stuff. Hey, if your startup doesn't look like this, something's wrong. Something's wrong, right? You're thinking, I got a fancy freaking things, it's funny, you know? Yeah, it's not going to be very fancy. That's what it looks like. This is PixSplit's technology. Hey, Joe, the guy I was sailing with, he gave me this free server. I put that down there, up on top. Joe, thank you very much. You got to be cheap. You got to put stuff together. IO turbine. Hey, so you know what the outcome is, right? 100 million, something like that. 18 plus months, the fastest return after Google to our key investors, whatever. That's the story. Does not really matter. It's all good stuff, but that's what it takes. Let's go back. That was a server room. You know, people will talk about it. They're gonna say, you know, there's articles, there's write-ups. So who are the backers? So I want to go a step back. I think Deepak knows a little bit about this. So I started my career at Sun Microsystems years ago. Worked very closely with people like Steve Kleiman and Andy Bechtolsheim. You remember the Spark Station, the first pizza box when things were desktops, and suddenly Andy decided to do like these very low-profile boxes. So I brought his second pizza box to life. I was very early in my career. So here's what it is. If you're true to your work, if you're true to yourself and to others around you, maybe 25 years later they might invest in you. And I think that's what this is all about, the ecosystem around you. I don't want to get too deep into this. So we had, sorry, I lost my name down there. So who are the people behind the company? Quite a few. There's people like, I'm sorry, there's big names and, sorry, Andy probably doesn't approve of this, but Andy believes in engineers, Andy believes in talent. There's people like David Cheriton, there's people like Steve Kleiman, who's actually been my mentor, an incredible person, the CTO and the chief scientist at NetApp, great people, a distinguished engineer at Sun Microsystems. Steve Kleiman, and in fact, my brother Sunil Joshi was sitting right here. They hired me back at Sun years ago, 25 years ago, I'm old. And that's how long back it goes. So you have to build, you need mileage, you need credibility, you need results. And I brought machines to life. And it took me a long time to realize that, you know what, I'm done questioning authority. I'm done fighting the establishment. I need to do my own thing. It took me a long time. And I wanted to surround myself with the people that I loved. I didn't know what they thought of me, that I felt really good about. I wanted to work with them. And I didn't want to let them down. You know how it is? You don't want money from your parents, from your father, somebody. You don't want money from Chinatown either. You want, you know how it is? It's like a ball game. You're out on the playing field. There's an ecosystem. You have the corporate governance from Wilson Sonsini. We'll talk about why you need that, or whoever your attorneys are. You need to understand why you need your investors. You need to understand why you need the Amit Bakshis and the Koreans. You need to understand why you need your family behind you. Once all that is understood, I think you're ready to play ball by the rules of the game that you define for yourself. I think that's what this is all about. And that same article, they said things like this. I think I really want to quote this last thing. Guess what? At Oracle, I worked on Exadata. And Exadata, as you know, is probably raking in $1 billion a year, maybe $1 billion a quarter. I formed the team, I led the effort, used stuff for Larry Ellison and stuff like that. Says it all here, a little bit, bits and pieces. Look at that. IO Turbine has the names, you know, it has the money. So now we just need to see if it can deliver on its product. you know, the burden is huge. The spotlight is on you. This is what people are saying out there. Not that it matters, but it's true. And I actually wanted to go in line with that article and pick a photograph that somebody picked on their, took on their iPhone. This is almost the same week that that article was written. While they were speculating on the company, my server room looked like that. Damn. Think about it, right? That's what you're doing. That's what it is. And then here you are in the structure 50 list of GigaOM on the top of the list. What are you thinking? I don't know. But I think it's really not about marketing yourself. It's not what you think about you. It's what others think about you. You got to do the thing ground up. And you know what? We are acquired by Fusion.io. For a lot of you, some of you who just socialize with me out there, oh, great exit. Wow, dude, have you done it, man? This is very cool. I want to do it too. No, not true. There's no exit here. I'm the same freaking path that I was 25 years ago. I was successful then, I'm successful now. We just monetize what we're doing today. Fusion.io acquired IO Turbine. We are an, public company. I'm one of the execs out there. I have to go play by the SEC rules and stuff like that. But due to my great acquisition, good stuff, all headed in the right direction. And the whole point is, you got to execute, you got to deliver, irrespective of people out there. Look at articles such as this few weeks before we got acquired. People are speculating on the high-profile investors around our company. Oh, okay, good stuff. We don't mind it. But that woman was not wrong. We just got acquired. Were we looking to get acquired? No. I was the last man to come on board. But it made the most sense then. So we'll do the Q&A on all of that. That has got nothing to do with your idea, what you believe in. Success is in your mind. Success is with technology. It's with the core. It's about what makes you happy. It's what, brings you back to work. Again, it's not what takes you back home, because you're not supposed to go back home again. It's not a day job. People will say all kinds of things. Okay, when you actually get to this and you have, you have studio photographers taking pictures of you, good thing is happening. That's my CEO, Rich Bober, an incredible, incredible man. All I can wish you is, when you do find your own co-founder, find great people like Rich. We'll talk more about that in the Q&A. But I think you want people with high integrity, great business ethic. I think look for that, and incredibly smart, brilliant people. So that's what imagery looks like. It suddenly changes from my handle photography to great things like that. People like this, that's what my team look like. There's a lot of stories hidden out there. I could go on and on about this, but of course I want to bore you to death and make you suffer through all of that. Notable great people, I don't know where to start. Start with the guy on the right top left, Yang Luan, the guy in the yellow sweats out there on top. You sitting out there, Yang? How you doing, dude? So, fresh out of CMU, hard freaking core, right? Probably the most brutal interview I ever subjected anyone to. This is called the meat grinder. So how do you pick your team? You make them write code. You make them, shred them to bits. You make sure that, co-founder quality people, right? Okay, they're well done now, but they have to be able to take the risk. Pick another one right there. Hey, this guy with a growler, a pitcher of beer sitting right here. That's Mike Brown, right? It's Mike. The guy's supposed to make it. Anyway, Mike's awesome. What do? You approve people's lives from Boston. Mike was, seriously, you don't believe me, right? You're just nodding, are you? Am I boring you guys to death or what? Say it. Let's have a show of hands.
Let those guys stand up.
Okay, just a few more slides and I'm done.
They're too shy.
Who's shy?
Your team over there.
Your team, yeah, they're not standing up.
Prashant?
Now they're feeling shy. You're right to stand.
Hey, what do you do? After my wife Meenu, she rides a 600cc motorcycle with me.
Name tag my favorite thing.
We recognize.
Oh, I'm sorry. How many of you? Nobody's walked out as far as I know. Okay, there was no money back guarantee on this whole thing. I told people the food better be good. I don't know what I'm going to say. No, don't worry about all this. We're in the business of jump starts. We want to do great things. And so people like Mike Brown, I told you, this is not my story. This is the story of the spirit and the adventures and the team of the people you believe in. It's about empowering those who are going to get you there. Seriously, I think, well, anyway, that's what works for me. And you have some great people. I approved Mike Brown, who, like I said, was happily ever after with VMware and EMC in Boston. I will tell you this story. I think Mike, I think you're going to listen to me on YouTube since he couldn't make it. So Mike joined my company, and he comes on a Saturday. There's only 2 people in the company, right? There's Rich Boberg and myself. I think there was one more guy out there. And then he comes on a Saturday, and Mike really wants, we are angel funded, and Andy, this is Andy Beckelsheim, Andy knew what hell we had gone through and doesn't want us to spend time raising money. So guess what? He knew how we had gotten completely buggered and screwed on PixSplit. So he says, okay, I don't want you to spend time raising money. Put your heads down and write the freaking code, and guess what? We got not just the Series A, but we got 2 term sheets back to back. So we got a Series A and a Series B. So we don't have to raise any money for the longest period of time, right? It's all completely covered by Andy. Sorry, Andy. My apologies to this, but I think it's important. If I were to fund one of you, a budding entrepreneur, I want to make sure that you focus on the things you want to focus and not have to spend and sweat it out and spend money trying to raise money. Seriously. I think it's important to recognize the ecosystem around us and great people around us, including the investor community, who recognize that. And the least I could do is to pass the message on. So I do appreciate the intent out there. So Mike Brown here comes here on a Saturday, and we are working here in this El Cheapo place that looks like a Motel 6 somewhere near Santana Row, out on the outskirts. And walks in here, I say, hey Mike, and he wanted to ship his stuff because we basically uprooted him from Boston. And he said, no, we are a cheapo company, we are just angel funded. So I said, well, it's a matter of time. It's going to take me 5 days to drive my stuff across the country. He's like, yeah, that's fine, drive your stuff. He comes in his little car, comes across, takes 5 days to drive the stuff over because we are not willing to fund him for that. This is IO Turbine, this is the company that got acquired, right, by Fusion IO. And he walks in on a Saturday, and he walks in there and says, hey Mike, how are you doing? Great to see you. Mike says, obviously I can't use the same language here because I'm going to be quoted out there. He says, where the F is my machine? So all that Mike wanted to know was where was his machine, and we totally got it. We stayed quiet, we gave him his machine, he worked on it, set the whole freaking environment. Sunil is laughing out there. He ran the thing, he downloaded his stuff, he compiled the whole thing, and after that he had a smile on his face. He says, okay, fine. He said, can we go and get coffee? That's the kind of stuff. I mean, these guys are made of different stock. And my point to you is, just recognize that talent up front. When we were hiring Mike, we knew who we were getting. It takes some time to get those people. And I think a lot of that is your own belief in yourself. That's going to be the draw, and that's going to be the nucleus. It's going to be you, and then people are going to be drawn to you. Hey, let's talk about code real quick. That's the view from my house. That's you know, it's hard to write ugly code from when you have a view like that from your office. That's where I sit, write most of my code. That's a winter day out there, and when it gets really wintry, guess what? I'm 15 minutes from the valley, and it's great to be snowbound. Imagine being snowbound in Silicon Valley, and you can actually write more code. David Stevens there has done a lot of patents for me. Not doing a plug for you, but. Yeah. So yeah, I think whatever you derive your inspiration from, go do it. Let's talk about a few things. I'm going to end this pretty rapidly here. Thank you all for listening. Trust means a lot to me. That's Anika, my daughter. That's Glenn, like a brother to me. A lot of my friends are actually nothing to do with compute and technology and people who write software or do hardware. These are people who are maybe, blue-collar workers or climbers or tree people. Blair is actually a great guy. He's a rock climber, 6'6". That's my daughter out there. Trust. What's that about? My daughter, Anika, is on a harness, on a rope swing. We live up in the Santa Cruz mountains out there. That's a rope swing of a 200-foot Douglas fir out there. Guess what? She's flying out there with a view of the valley, right? She trusted him. That's hard. This is not a roller coaster. You are off an edge of something. You're falling off a few hundred feet off. You're going out there with a view out there. That's serious exposure out there. It's hard to believe that. Maybe the picture doesn't really capture that. And then people like Blair, who believe in trust, say, "Hey, Anika, do an upside down for me. Can you hang, loose?" And you do it. And that's what trust is about. I think trust is so important in a company. So I could double in for Marilyn Manson maybe here, but don't let them tell you that you look ugly. Sorry. This is between you and you. Yeah. Creativity and failure are two sides of the same coin. If you haven't failed, you just haven't tried it enough. I'm sorry, at the risk of repetition, so my group who unfortunately have paid for this talk, but you heard this before from me. So I think you do have to try hard, because I think the way I look at life is the only difference between a bright person and a moron, sorry, use the language here, is that a bright person learns much faster from the mistakes. If you haven't made mistakes, I'm not really interested in you. You do have to make mistakes. And if you can non-linearly learn from your mistakes, then that's what separates you and defines you from the rest of the pack. I think that's what it's all about. Otherwise, you're doing this middle-of-the-road thing, which is, what are you doing middle-of-the-road thing? Then don't talk about startups, don't talk about success. That's sort of where I am with this whole thing. Technology, hey, that's the beautiful Corinne sitting out there. There you can see it out there with some other people. It starts in your backyard. It starts in your parking lot. Fox Sports and Major League Baseball. When Fox Sports wanted to work with us, guess what? They were a strategic partner, investors, and all the good stuff. They wanted to ship us a $250,000 camera. Corinne, you remember that? We didn't have the money. We didn't have the money to pay for their FedEx. so here we're sitting out there with a freaking little thing out there, a cheapo El Cheapo thing, with a green screen, and Corinne is sitting out there, and trying to do the stuff with Major League and NHL and NBA, and trying to render ads dynamically with occlusions and whatnot. All this started as Amit. They had a cheapo car back then. He drives a Mercedes now. Sorry. Dude, that's a totally girly car. I had to get this across. What are you driving back then? Okay. Let's move forward. So So this is where it all begins. Look at that. Move forward with this thing. Corinne sitting out there. What do you have? Styrofoam cups out there, occluding, with shadows and whatnot behind Amit's whatever car, and that's what you have. And the ability to create $1 billion business, which we didn't, for which we got LOIs, for which questions were rightly asked. You could do that. I think you can do that with home handheld cameras. You can entice, you can get world-class people out there. I can throw names out here. If you were to pick the #1 person in computer vision, we had that person, Gary Bradsky, on our team. David Stevens, great people out there from Stanford. They're all behind this technology. Very, I was not a computer vision guy. I just know how to make things go fast and run. People like Amit know how to render. People like Corinne know something else. There's a lot of great people out there. How do you put all this together? It's about playing ball. It's about knowing what your position is. It's about knowing where you want to go. What do you want to do? So you have a choice, I think. You can pick where you want to be. I think you can pick my backyard, for example. You can say, I want to stand tall on the rock, on the boulder, and do what I really want to do and believe in what I believe in. Or it could be listlessly wandering in the dry, barren wasteland of your life. I think that's your choice. I think I recommend that you really find the answer. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Maybe I tricked you. Hey Kevin, sorry you couldn't make it because his daughter is really sick today. But I had threatened Kevin with a butt shot, so here it is, Kevin, for you. You bastard. So here's Kevin on LCAP. Great people like that, and I think teams are really, really important. When the VCs tell you that the #1 thing is the team, they really mean it. A few weeks ago, I was running with Kevin. I said, Vikram, Kevin is with me on Fusion.io. He joined with me on IoT, got acquired by Fusion.io. Just running up at the Santa Cruz Mountains with a bunch of people. And said, I really wish I was a part of Air Turbine. I said, dude, I didn't get it. We totally freaking died, right? I said, yeah, I know. I just feel like I want to be a part of it. I think it means so much to me. Well, thank you for listening. Sorry. Can I get some more something to drink?
Yeah, we'll get you water there. Anyway, thank you, Vikram. Amazing story. Let's have some Q&A, I think. So we'll entertain them a little more. Here's the mic. Here's the water.
It's like a marriage. This hurts. This really hurts.
This hurts. Okay. All right. I think I would just open it directly to the audience because I know enough about Vikram, so I may ask him some questions which he may not want to answer, and it'll be on YouTube, so I'll spare him from that. How about that? So, by the way, thank you very much. Really a colorful and exciting journey you shared with us. I really appreciate it. Of course, I know a lot about it personally. So, how about we get started with the audience, I think. So, no questions? Come on, guys, wake up.
So I have a question. Vikram, thank you for your just wonderful story, and I truly admire your storytelling ability, and that's just really amazing. Okay, so congratulations. Okay, great job. Okay, all right.
Well, it's called.
The reason no one interrupted you is because they were so captivated with your story, so that's why nobody wanted to pipe in any comments.
You just moved in the front.
Yeah, I moved in the front. So here's the question. You talk about a team a lot, okay, and I think that's wonderful because all the people that you handpicked and you and you recruited the best and the brightest. So could you also talk about, I mean, was there anybody who really did not work out and you had to kind of, deliver the message, hey, you're not making it? So could you talk about that?
Yes, of course. So, well, I do appreciate, I appreciate getting under my skin. So, tough stuff here, right? Very pointed question. I think I appreciate the fact that it takes a lot of courage just to ask what you did. I'm a very capitalistic guy. Do not believe in the bourgeois and the muggles and the commoners. I believe in picking the top talent. I believe that you have to pick the people he believes in. I do understand the whole matrix equation and the fact that you need the type A's and the type B's and the type C's. Unfortunately, I just believe in the Marines and the Navy SEALs. Just so unfortunate. And when the time comes to scale the company to larger people, to get all other kinds of, the domain knowledge experts and others, you say the right hammers for the nails, I think that's when you become too large, and I've realized that I need to move forward from that. You have to let people go. Firstly, you don't always know if you hired the right people for the job. And early stage startups are ugly, they're stressful. Yeah, I've done 2 startups back to back. Hey, my wife Mina is sitting out there for all, for the love of God, for all the love and everything. I think anything I want to say in public out here, how does it feel like for you, right? For me, for me it was great, right? I want to be in war. This is what I like to do. There's the 18-inch biceps friend of a guy coming back from Mexico, for the bar brawl. I mean, great people out there. But for a family who's behind you, how does it feel? It feels a lot like you are coming back from Afghanistan and just want to get dispatched to Iraq. I want to be there. If I'm not in the trenches, in the line of fire, it's a meaningless life to me. But the support system behind you needs you to be there. Now, when you are looking at that equation, you have to see, for an early stage startup, to answer your question, are you hiring the right people for that job? And that's a very tough question out there. There are very few people who fit into that thing. Very rarely. Few people are willing to take the plunge. Few people who are willing to give up their jobs at the technical leads of the World of Warcrafts and the Sonys to say, guys, I'm willing to put my life behind this thing. And I think maybe it is luck or maybe it's the draw. I think that's what it is. But if it doesn't work out, you have to let them go. And I've had to do that. And which is why, when you saw that whole group photo, I picked a couple of people that, had great stories, but not all of them survived. They were great to begin with. They interviewed really well. You wanted them on the team. Everyone didn't make it through the acquisition. Everyone didn't really survive. So the bottom line is, when you have to let people go, hey, you gotta do it. That's the nature of the job.
Vikram, let me play capitalist a little bit. So you got $95 million value for all this hard work and all the top talent you brought together. What do you think the ultimate total value of this technology is going to be a few years from now? What do you think, what kind of wealth it will create?
There's 2 things. I'm not allowed to speculate as a part of an SEC company because it does affect the street. And I'm allowed to speculate as an entrepreneur. Of course, this is it's an acquisition that I totally do believe in. It's an acquisition that I think the company that acquired us, Fusion IO, does believe in. I think, think about it. I'm going to turn the question around. Why would someone, who were we, right? We were people who wrote software. We're an arms dealer, right? We wrote software that accelerated I/O in virtualized environments. We worked in environments where people had solid state technology and flash, whatever. I don't want to get too deep into that. The reason we joined forces with Fusion.io was we have the potential to capture a market share in a greenfields market where with someone who was leading the whole hardware technology and they had the first mover advantage. We think the upside here is huge because now you can actually have control on the entire I/O stack, not just the hardware and the software. So the upside in this whole space, in the storage community, in the server technology community, in the virtualization community, it's huge. How big is the market space? I can actually just quote some numbers from the analyst community. We are after an extremely conservative number of a 250 billion space, market cap space. We're after that market, and more aggressively, it's at least $500 billion to maybe possibly $1 trillion dollar market space. This is how big we are. We're not after anything less than that. So it's pretty huge. You make a dent into that, into even 10%, 5%, whatever. Those are like really big numbers. That's what we are after. And that the ability to target such a market in such a short time, demonstrate that with technology, having the right set of high-profile investors, having a great team, technology that actually worked in the field, demonstrated its value. I think those are sort of the steps.
Follow-up question. So, would this technology by itself could you have monetized it as a standalone business?
Oh, absolutely. So we didn't get acquired. How would I put it? Let's turn this around. I'm not that great with words, but we were already doing business. We were being successful. We had customers. We were doing business with other people. What we needed was, actually, how should I put it? Joining forces with a company like Fusion.io just allowed us to accelerate the path that we are already on. Because, it's like, maybe Sunil, I think your example here would be great, which is Oracle versus IBM. Oracle acquired Sun because then it could control both the hardware and the software stack, whereas IBM owned both the hardware and the software for, say, the database market, right? And that's sort of what we are after. We want the ability to be able to monetize not just the software, but hardware eventually gets commoditized, and you want to be able to make sure that you get the margins out of software. It's like a VMware style market, and you want to make sure that you are with the leading players in the market space, with the leading hardware vendors. Eventually, there's going to be a lot of competition for hardware, but having your technology and the ability to monetize the software side is really key.
Deepak, you don't have any question?
Yeah, I have one question.
I wanted people to ask you a question.
It cannot be hard. We've had a hard conversation already.
So 90s, you were a very clean-cut guy. What happened actually after that?
It stopped working for you.
Okay.
Started not pushing the trucks.
I don't know if you already pressed the right buttons here on me. So let me tell you, I used to work for Deepak, okay? And great guy, okay? No plug here, nothing. I used to work for Deepak back years ago, back at Sun. And are you okay if I talk about this publicly for the record or what?
He has a question.
Who cares about your question? What do you guys say? Which way?
Absolutely. We paid for the truth.
You paid for it. From your training, they had to pay.
You want to take your question back last chance? I'm willing to just.
No, Deepak.
I'm willing to gloss over. I'm going to tell you the truth. Either way.
That's fine, go ahead.
Alright.
I couldn't stop you at Sun. Why would I make you stop now?
Okay,
Nice words.
okay.
Okay, I've given you the SEC guideline.
I gotta give you the SEC guideline. So, when I worked for Deepak, I was bringing UltraSpark up to life, great environment, great stuff to do. I've always been married to work. Deepak knows that. So much so that I don't think I have a personal life. I still work 80 to 100-hour days for whatever it's worth. My apologies to my family. I've been married to my work. I hope you guys don't do that. That's why you need steely people like my wife, Meena, and my daughter Anika to be behind you. I couldn't be in that place. So when my daughter Anika was born, my wife was really sick. She was born 11 weeks premature, and I used to work for Deepak. He didn't know the answer until a few weeks ago. And Meenu, my wife, calls me and she says, I think I'm really sick. It's like, yeah, well, you're not supposed to have a baby right now. It's like 2-3 months from now. And why don't you just go to the doctors yourself? And the next I know is I get a call from the hospital. Your wife is in a state of coma. And here I'm bringing the ultra spark up. And I think that was very settling. It's very hard when you are so, again, I'm going to watch my language, you're so screwed up and your focus is on your work. And I went to my work, I went to the hospital, and my daughter was born really premature, many weeks, 11 plus weeks, and less than 3 pounds, and they were able to save her life.